The first thing I noticed was the faint trace of her perfume still clinging to my shirt. That morning, I had hugged her goodbye before heading to work. I kissed her cheek the way I always did, told her I'd pick up dinner on the way back. She smiled, tucked her hair behind her ear, and said, "Don't be late tonight. I want us to spend some time together." By 8 p.m., I knew those words had been a lie. The warning signs had been there for weeks. Emily's phone was always flipped face down. Her laughter often came from another room. Conversations that once flowed easily had withered into nods and distracted replies. I kept telling myself she was just tired, maybe stressed. But that night, when my calls went unanswered and my texts sat unread, the knot in my stomach became unbearable. I wasn't hunting for proof. I didn't want it. But sometimes proof finds you whether you're ready or not. Scrolling through Facebook, a photo stopped me cold. A mutual friend had posted a picture of a fancy restaurant. Candles glowing, glasses clinking. And there she was, clear as day in the background. Emily, my wife, leaning in with a smile I hadn't seen in months. Her hand resting dangerously close to the man across from her. Not just any man. Eric, her co-worker. I recognized him instantly. He'd been at our house once for a company barbecue. My chest tightened. The room spun. For a second, I couldn't breathe. I could have called her right then, demanded an explanation. But the part of me already broken chose something else. To let her betrayal play out in front of me, undeniable. So I called my lawyer instead. We'd spoken once before when my parents passed, so his number was still saved. My voice shook as I told him everything, but he stayed calm, steady, already thinking ahead. "Do you want to try counseling?" he asked. "No," I said, surprising myself with the steadiness of my tone. "I want out, but I don't want a screaming match. I want her to see what she's thrown away." By midnight, the papers were ready. The next evening, I parked across the street from that same restaurant. My heart pounded so violently it felt like my ribs might break. For 20 minutes, I sat gripping the envelope in my hand like a weapon. Then I saw them, Emily and Eric walking inside. She looked radiant. Hair curled, red dress flowing, that same perfume trailing behind her. She looked like the woman I fell for, only tonight she wasn't mine. I followed them in. My legs felt numb, disconnected from me. The hostess barely looked up when I asked where the couple in red and gray had been seated. She pointed, and there she was, Emily, laughing, smiling, her hand now resting on his arm like it belonged there. I stood at their table until she noticed. Her laughter died instantly. The color drained from her face. "David," she whispered, as if saying my name was a crime. Eric shifted awkwardly. You two know each other?" I set the envelope on the table. My voice was calm, almost too calm. "Yeah, that's my wife." The restaurant fell silent. Emily's hand flew from Eric's arm as though she'd touched fire. "David, this isn't what it looks like." I let out a hollow laugh that carried too loud. "Really? Because it looks exactly like what it is." Eric tried to rise. "Maybe I should." "Sit down." I snapped, eyes still locked on her. He sank back immediately. Her lips trembled. "David, please. Can we talk about this privately?" I slid the envelope closer. "There's nothing left to talk about. Those are divorce papers. Sign them when you're done with dinner." She flinched as if the envelope weighed 100 pounds. "Divorce? Just like that? After everything we built? You're ready to throw it away?" "No," I said quietly. "You already threw it away. I'm just cleaning up what's left." The whispers in the restaurant grew louder. Emily's face flushed crimson. "David, please. It was a mistake. I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you." A part of me still wanted to believe her. God, I did. But love doesn't sneak around in red dresses and candlelit restaurants with another man. "If you loved me," I said, my throat tightening, "you wouldn't be here." Her tears fell. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Eric finally spoke. "Look, man, I know." I turned to him so sharply he froze. "Don't lie. You knew she was married. You came into my house, ate my food, shook my hand, and still sat here with her like it meant nothing." His face went pale, and he sank lower in his chair. I looked back at Emily. Enjoy your date. Someone will pick up my things. And I walked out. That night was the loneliest of my life. I checked into a cheap hotel, sat on the bed, and stared at those papers like they were both my execution and my release. Sleep never came. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her laughing at that table, her hand brushing his. The image carved itself into me like a scar. Over the next few days, Emily called nonstop. She texted. She even came to the hotel once, pounding on the door, begging to explain. I never opened it. Her messages swung between apologies, pleas, promises, then anger, insults, blame. Watching her unravel piece by piece only confirmed what I already knew. Nothing she said could erase what I saw. You spend years building a life with someone, sharing secrets, fears, dreams. You believe you know them. Then, in one moment, you realize they can betray you in ways you never imagined. The hardest part wasn't losing Emily. It was losing the man I had been, the one who trusted without question, who believed every smile, who kissed a goodbye in the mornings without doubt. That man was gone. In his place was someone harder, colder, but maybe stronger. Weeks later, we met at the lawyer's office to finalize the divorce. She looked worn down, like the weight of her choices had finally crushed her. She tried once more. David, please. I know I made a mistake, but can we try again? I'll do anything, therapy, counseling, whatever you want. I just don't want to lose you. I studied her face, the face I once thought I'd grow old with. But the woman I married wasn't there anymore. You lost me the moment you chose him, I said softly. Her tears spilled, but I didn't reach to wipe them away. I signed the papers. The day became official. I drove back to that restaurant. I didn't go inside, just sat across the street, staring at the glowing windows. I thought about that night, the silence that fell when I dropped those papers on the table, the look in her eyes when the truth hit. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something like peace. Her betrayal had burned me to ashes. But from those ashes, maybe I could rise. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to fight or scream or beg. It's to walk away.